Our next guest is a model, actress, and now mum. She came to Australia's attention when she landed the role of Charlie Buckton, a policewoman in the much-loved Australian TV soap opera Home and Away. She was nominated for a Gold Logie in 2010 and 2012, and soon after she took her chances and moved to LA. Please welcome to the show Esther Anderson. Hey Esther.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks. How are you?
Very well. Just waking up in good old Aussie town here.
I know you're such a good sport doing it at this hour.
I know, but I'm an early bird, so it's okay.
Yes, well, I'm now an early bird, but not by
not by choice. So tell us about your move to LA. Why did you actually originally do it?
Oh, it's so funny. Actually, someone asked me that the other day, and I was like, I think at the time I remember thinking I was so old. I was 32 and thinking like I was pretty much, over the hill.
Hitting
and
the peak.
It was my last chance. If I was going to do it and try LA, I had to do it then because I was only going to get older. And now looking back, I'm like, I was so young.
Yeah.
But no, I had Home and Away was my first role that I'd ever sort of, played, that I'd ever done. And I wanted to try other characters and see what else I was capable of. And
that's definitely the place to go to trial that out.
Absolutely. It was the right decision, and I'm glad I did it. But it definitely was a difficult decision. I think the hardest thing about moving to LA, well, for me personally, was just the auditioning process. I mean, I'd had quite a bit of experience acting by that point. I'd done over 300 episodes of TV, which is a lot of experience work, but I'd had no experience auditioning, and Home and Away was my third audition ever. And
wow.
So then coming to America and doing it on such a huge scale in a different dialect, I was so green. I think I had beginner's luck early on and was lucky to land some work early on, and then it's hard. Yeah, the auditioning process is brutal here.
Oh, I bet. That's actually stemming on to my next question. What do you think is the hardest thing about the move that a lot of Aussie actors take to go over there?
I think, you've got to have a bit of courage to do it anyway, to come here. You're such a small fish in the big sea.
Humongous sea, yeah.
And it's so competitive, and everyone comes from all over the world at this time called pilot season, at the beginning of the year when they cast all these pilots. And I think I just remember being in the audition room and seeing, at that point it was when movie stars were really starting to work in television, probably even before I got it. But, I would see sort of the actresses from film that I was competing against who'd had a lot more experience than me.
Oh my God, I would fangirl and be like, hi.
I did. I walked out thinking, that felt pretty good. And then I'd see someone and I'd just be like, yeah, no hope. But no, it was eye-opening. And it just changed everything in terms of the whole industry when a lot of film actors, that traditionally just did films started doing television.
Yeah, it's become a lot more prevalent, hasn't it?
It has, and now a lot of shows, you might still get an audition for it, but often they'll just give straight out offers to actors. So that was kind of daunting. And other than that, though, and also in Australia, it's such a nice feeling in the room. Well, most of the time, the casting director will have a little bit of a chat with you, and they're like, do you want to just read it first before we put one down on tape? And you're given sort of your best shot at it. Whereas here, you go in, you get one take, and straight off the bat, no read through first, and you've just got to hit it straight away.
Yeah, that would be really, really hard. I think that's the thing too, that even here in Australia, you don't even have to be that big a star for, several people within the industry to know who you are. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, you could
Mm-hmm.
even be working as an extra, working your way up to, a lead role and be in many, many productions, and people start to get to know your face and just that sort of stuff. I think that because we're such a small country and, the industry isn't it nowhere near as big as it is over there. It is a little bit easier here to sort of get known.
Yeah, well, to get a foot in the door.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole sort of conundrum is, you can look at it both ways. In Australia, it might be easier to get a foot in the door, and certainly I was lucky enough to do that. But then
the focus is on your work then straight away.
Yeah, but also you've got to look at longevity. I think that was one of the main reasons I moved as well. I didn't want to have any regrets if I never tried it out here, but also there's only so many, it's only so big, the body of work that comes out of Australia. There's only so many opportunities. So with that many actors, that's why so many do come here, is because there's just more opportunity and more chance to have a perhaps, longer career or something like that.
Very, very true. Very
But for
true.
me, the main thing, sorry to answer your question properly, apart from auditioning, the hardest thing is definitely being away from family and leaving all your friends behind. And
I know.
That's been an ongoing thing that I, battle with.
Yeah, definitely. But I hear that you got a part in a pretty huge production when you first got over there called Siberia. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, Siberia. That was a great job. That was, it was a kind of like a mystery thriller type show. Basically, it was about a reality show that's gone wrong. So we were playing reality show contestants in kind of like a Survivor type scenario. So we were competing for money and everything, but it was a scripted drama, in fact, which the audience didn't know to begin with. So it was so authentic in terms of, like, it really looked like a reality show, that people were a little bit confused. I think that, people were like, is this a reality show or is this a drama? Because I think by about episode 4, someone dies and the producers don't really step in, and then you realise, okay, this is going south.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I had a great character who kind of did anything to win. Like, he really sort of threw people under the bus and used her, sexual powers as a female to get her way. And it was fun. It was very different from what I'd just been playing.
Yeah, definitely.
That was great.
And you were also brought back to film some scenes for some later episodes of Home and Away. What was it like returning?
Yeah, that was amazing.
I bet.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It felt like it just felt like going home. It felt like being home, seeing all my friends and all the crew, and some of the cast had already changed over a little bit, but mostly I knew everyone. All my scenes, though, were with Steve, so it was great to catch up with him again. But it was also, as lovely as it was to be back, it was awful at the same time. I had just lost my stepmum, and like only maybe 2 weeks earlier or 3 weeks earlier, and I just the nature of the scenes where I came back as a ghost, and I'm trying to tell Brax that he can move on and that our chance at love was cut short, but you should take this chance. And I remember just being so emotional, and I'm supposed to be the strong one trying to, tell him to move on, and I'm just barely holding it together for those scenes. So it was, it was hard, but it was nice to be around.
Did you notice anything different, like about the production itself, the differences to the US to here?
What was that? Sorry, what's the difference?
Did you notice a big difference in production? I mean, I know that it's a huge industry over here. Did it, coming back here, feel a little bit simpler as such, production-wise? Or was it the same as being on set anywhere?
It's funny. I was expecting it in the US to be, I thought so much more money. You'd probably get, a lot more time and a lot more takes on everything. But I remember it still being just as quick, and I was glad, like when I was on Siberia, just being really grateful that I'd had that experience of trying to get your best take, really quite quickly. Because it's, everywhere it's business, everyone's still
That's it. I suppose that's the thing. They're still trying to get the best take and do it as quickly as possible because it's all costing money. Yeah.
Yeah, and then move on. And, yeah. So, I mean, there are differences. I think if you're on a huge scale, big budget movie, then it, might feel different. But at the same time, I think that puts a lot more pressure on you too, because each take probably does cost so much more there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just imagine.
Ants Talk. It's like Oprah, but not.
Also, I know that you were married in 2017 and also just had your first beautiful little child, Forrest, in August. What has this change been like for you?
Thank you. He came late, just at the very end of July, actually. Everything's changed.
I bet.
Absolutely everything for the best. It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me, and he's amazing. But it's like I can't even explain. I feel like I'm just coming out of the fog now.
I bet.
He's 7.5 months, and I feel like I'm just sort of. It really puts you in the moment. Like, it's just sort of keeping this young child alive, basically, for so long. And then, with the daylight savings changing here about a week ago, I learnt this trick. They said, look, if your baby's waking early, then put your blackout blinds up, and, this will be a good chance to make them sleep later, because he was waking up sort of 6, which isn't bad. But,
it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, not for you, but oh my gosh.
You like your sleep.
I like my sleep. And after 7.5 months of sleep deprivation, that just sounds heaven if he would sleep till 7.
Yeah.
And we haven't got the blackout blinds yet. We've ordered them, or we've ordered the fabric. So at the moment I've got garbage bags blacked out. His bedroom's like a cave, the poor thing.
Whatever works.
But it works, and I've just dropped the dream feed at 10:30 p.m. So now he sleeps from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's only been the last couple of weeks. So I'm like, I feel like a different person.
I bet. You're finally coming out of the fog.
Finally coming out of the fog, but it's the best. Like, I feel so lucky. I've just had all this time to focus on him and be with him and get to know him. He's changing constantly, and it's just mind-blowing. I heard the other day, sorry, I know this is not an interview about babies, but I heard the other day that a 1-year-old's brain activity is closer to an adult's than a newborn's.
Yeah, supposedly from the ages of like 1 to 5, their brains are just absolute sponges. That's where you can teach them other languages if you wanted to and stuff like that, and they're going to absorb it and learn it really quickly. It actually goes for a couple of years.
Sorry?
It actually goes for a couple of years.
Okay, yeah, well, I need to get him, into some language classes.
Start speaking Spanish.
Yeah. I go, hola. He'll think I'm saying, hola.
And tell us about your beautiful husband.
Howie. You've met Howie.
I have met Howie.
Yeah, I've got 2. It's like Howie and Howie Jr. with Forrest. They're identical. They're so I see so many of the same expressions, and I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. Howie's doing well. He's loving fatherhood.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, he's doing really well. It's
and it was just a chance meeting with you guys, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got set up actually on by some mutual friends. Which was incredible. I said no first to this blind date because I'd been set up on a couple previously that were really, really bad. And then he ended up coming to a Christmas party, like a pub crawl Christmas party that I was going to, and I realised it was him. I was like, oh, gosh, please still be single. I was like, you idiot, Esther. And he was, and, it was pretty much love at first sight, I'd say, as close to what love at first sight is, was it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You really, I mean, you've met my husband, and you really do know. Like it is a different feeling. It's like I knew with Sam. When I first met him, that it was. I didn't know he was going to end up being my husband, but I knew that it was going to be different and it was going to be special. I knew that there was something different about this guy.
Did it feel familiar? Like, to me, it felt familiar with Howard in terms of, like, I felt like I knew him straight away.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I mean, he and I talked for hours and hours and hours, and, it was such an easy flow of conversation, and it was just like talking to a friend.
Hours and hours and hours the first time we met.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, it is almost like talking to a friend. It just falls that automatically into it.
Yeah, it was. I thought maybe we've had a lifetime together before or something, but it was just very instantaneous.
No, it is. I love it. So what has been the greatest challenge over there for you?
Like I said before, probably being away from my family is the hardest thing. Mum just got an iPhone. We gave her an old one of Howard's, and she just got it set up this week. And yesterday was the first time we FaceTime, and
that's brilliant.
And she's like, "Oh my God!" It was so cool. So at least that's good. After being here, so long, so she can see Forrest now.
It really does make a difference.
Huge difference.
And especially with parents that, like, because our parents aren't young, so it's. It makes a big difference when they get a little bit more tech savvy and are able to do this sort of stuff. Because at the beginning, I mean, my parents had no idea, absolutely no idea. Dad's quite tech savvy now, and Mum's getting there.
That's good. No, I mean, I can't give my parents a hard time because I'm terrible as well, as you know me.
It must run in the family.
Pardon?
It must run in the family.
Yeah. Thank goodness I've got Howie. So that's made a difference, in the last day. It's important for me to get back as much as possible, and for them to come here as much as possible. But now with Forrest, I did the last trip. I came back in, when was it? I can't remember, January or February.
Yeah, I think it was January, February.
And Howard had work. He couldn't come, so I did the flight on my own. Oh, my gosh. It's full on.
Because it's still, it's 15 hours, isn't it? 15.
At least it's direct, and he did it well. It's just,
it's mainly all the anxiety just about what could potentially happen, I think.
Totally. And then, just sort of holding him until he would fall asleep. I thought my arms were going to drop off at one point. And on the way there, it was fine. On the way back, I remember the air stewards just coming around going, "He's still not asleep." And I was just like holding him going, "Not yet." Every time I'd put him in the bassinet, he'd wake up and,
Oh, you should do the old thing that they used to do, give them a bit of brandy or something.
Yes. If only I felt comfortable doing that.
I know. I'd be the same, I think. Funny enough, like, what's it raising a child in the US? Do you recognise any differences to your own upbringing here in Australia?
Well, obviously, I've only been raising a child for the last 7 months or whatever. However,
but I suppose you've already got an American child.
Yeah, I know, but
That's
yeah,
so
I mean,
bizarre.
we've talked about it in my mummy and me classes a bit. Like, they already are bringing up the subject of preschool.
Wow.
And everything, because apparently some people are like getting on waiting lists already, and I think I just was like, preschool here can range from $11,000 a year to $25,000 a year, and that's not even full time. That's for like, you know, if maybe a half day, a few days a week or whatever. And I just thought, that is insane. Like, how does everyone?
That is insane.
And then obviously you get paid for middle school and college. Like, it just, the expense, it's just crazy.
That makes sense to me now, because it's funny when you watch Ellen or something and they give away, you know, they'll give somebody money for college, you know, tuition, and you see how excited they get. That's the reason why they're getting excited. It's so expensive.
Absolutely. Like, I've got friends that are, you know, got incredible professions, you know, doctors and lawyers and things like that, and they've been working for quite a few years and just said, no, so many of us will not be able to afford to be a homeowner because we're just in debt for so long.
Yeah.
And these are with, like, really well-paid jobs. I just thought, it's crazy. And then the other thing that is very different, obviously, is just the culture here, and like the gun issue just terrifies me.
I bet.
So I don't know, this whole schooling thing. We're happy here at the moment, but part of me still dreams about my kids sort of being in Australia.
Yeah, because it would be quite surreal, I suppose, because once he starts school and stuff, he'll be actually probably coming home with an American accent.
He definitely will be. Yeah, my friend, you know, Bernard Curry, his boys grew up here for for about 5 years, and Fox had a full American accent and everything, and it's,
Funny enough is a lot of adults here and parents that I know that are talking about their children, and then, I mean, these are Australian children, and children here are starting to get American accents purely from watching so much American TV.
You're kidding.
No. So there's one friend of mine, and her daughter speaks in an American accent purely because she only watches American cartoons.
Oh my God! I kind of, as an if you could have a crystal ball and you could look into the future and you knew you were going to be an actor and come to America, I'd say great, just do it all the time, because then you don't have to learn how to do it later.
Well, that's true. Yeah, very.
But
true.
Otherwise, that's quite wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. But I mean, I think it's also quite, when you think about it, well, no wonder, really.
Yeah, we're not apparently here. Well, our doctors said it's not good for us to watch TV till 18 months. I was like, that sounds like a long time. But
yeah, but try and keep them away as much as possible, I think, because the one thing I have noticed about children these days is they barely look up from screens these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too many people use them as a babysitter, I think.
No, trying not to do that. The only time I've done it is on the plane. Then the doctor said, or go out the window on the plane.
Well, that's
whatever to keep
whatever
baby
works. Happy. Exactly. I agree. So, Esther, tell us what we can see you in next.
Well, I've got a couple of films coming out. One's coming out July. I don't have a hard release date yet, but I've got a film called Madness in the Method, which is with Jason Mewes and Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob films. I don't know if you've seen them. They're kind of cult movies.
Okay.
And it was Jay's directorial debut, which we shot while I was pregnant, actually. Yeah. I did the first few scenes while I was 10 weeks pregnant, and then the end of my scenes filmed in England, and I was about 5 months pregnant, so sitting behind a desk trying to hide the tummy. But that was a lot of fun. I played a policewoman, but very different to Charlie Buckton. I was the chief of police, and she's kind of a little bit naughty, a little bit cheeky.
Charlie's worked her way up.
Yeah, I know, chief of police. And then I've done another film, Appleseed, which I shot just before I fell pregnant. So that should come out fairly soon as well. And that's a beautiful story with, you would know of Ron Howard, his father, Rance Howard, who passed away. It was his last film. And he's amazing in it. So I got to play the lead, the
That's
girl that got away
exciting.
in that.
What a person to meet and work with.
Oh, he was incredible. He's
That whole family are just so talented.
Yes, the apples didn't fall far from the tree.
Not at all. Like Ron's daughter, she's one of my favourite actresses.
Oh, I met her at the preview for Appleseed because we've seen the preview.
I would have fully fangirled.
I didn't know what to say. I was just like, she came out of the bathroom. She was in the bathroom before me, and I didn't realise that it was her in there. And I'm waiting, and then she came out. I was just like, hi. Well, I guess I'll talk to you out there rather than holding her up in the toilet, bailing her up. She didn't have it, an out.
Funny enough, I was the same way. And I mean, I've met a lot of celebrities and a lot of actors, a lot of singers. The funny, especially doing makeup, but the one person that really got me was Nicole Kidman. Because I went to, my friend was in Moulin Rouge and as one of the principal dancers, and so he invited me to the wrap party. And so we got to the wrap party, which was absolutely phenomenal. It was a $1 million party, which was held at the studios in Sydney. And we sort of walked in, and he got me there just because his parents were also going, so I was sort of chaperoning them so they wouldn't get bored. And as soon as we walked in, he sort of rushed us straight around, and we're walking through this crowd, and I didn't even know where we were going. And then all of a sudden he just stops, and there's Nicole Kidman standing in front of me, putting a hand out to shake my hand, and I'm just like, I didn't know what to do.
As well. She's like a, supermodel. Like
she literally glowed. Do you know what I mean? Like she was like this aura. It was just amazing.
I love it.
I love her too.
Oh, I love Big Little Lies. I'm so excited about watching season 2.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
Now listen, Esther, we've got some fun questions just to end the show with.
Oh, okay.
So what's the last thing you watched on TV, and why did you choose to watch it?
Well, actually, we now that Forrest is sleeping so well, I've got a little bit more time to watch something again. And we started last night the new Ricky Gervais show, Afterlife.
Oh, yeah. I started that the other day too. I didn't get much into it because I didn't have time, but I did start it. It looks good.
Yeah, it's funny. I love him. He's great.
Yeah, I do too.
So that was funny. And then, but the one I sort of started the other night and binge watched a little bit when Howard was away for work is Working Mums. That's another one on Netflix, and it's just so relative at the moment for me. It's like they're going to Mummy and Me classes, and the ladies, pumping at work, expressing milk.
Who is in that? I think I've seen an episode of that too.
It's really good. It's really good. And I don't know if it's just because it was very relatable, but I'm pretty sure, most people would still find it entertaining. So that was a good one.
Love it. And what is the funniest thing that's happened to you recently?
Oh, gosh. Where do I start? not funny, embarrassing, everything. Like, pretty much weekly or daily something happens. I used to be able to blame baby brain, which is a real thing. And then I blamed sleep deprivation for the last 7 months, but now that he's sleeping, so well, I've got no excuse. But, I mean, the other day I opened the fridge and I found my phone in the fridge. I wasn't even looking for it. I was just like, oh, there's my phone.
That is so funny.
It worked. But the worst, last week, so poor little Forrest, he had a lot of food intolerances from about, since he was born. We tried everything on my milk. Like when I was breastfeeding, I eliminated dairy, soy, nuts, wheat. Like pretty much there was nothing I could eat except for boiled chicken and veggies. And he was still having all these tummy issues. And so the doctor would say, okay, bring a stool in for us to, just check if there's any blood still in it. This is after he was on. We found a formula that he could have. And I've done this several times. And then last week, I put the poop in my bag, in my handbag the night before, because basically you don't have a handbag. When you become a mum, the baby bag is your handbag. And so I put the poop in a plastic bag, obviously, the night before. And then the next morning, I forget, maybe I'd run out of milk or something. Anyway, and Howie was working from home in the morning. So I was like, great, I can duck to the supermarket because getting errands done without Forrest is a lot quicker and easier. And I'm driving to the supermarket and all of a sudden I'm smelling something. I'm like, am I accidentally like wind and I'm not aware of it? I just didn't put two and two together. I'm like, do I stink? And then I get to the supermarket and I'm at the checkout. So once I stood still again, I smell this smell again. And the lady behind me, she's looking at me, screwing her nose up at me. And I've realised, oh, my God, I've got the poop in my bag. And I'm like, I went to explain to her, and then I'm like, but I don't have a baby with me. She's like, I believe that I've got a baby's poop in my bag. And so I like step away a little bit from the guy in front of me as if to like screw my nose up at him just to say the stinky one.
Blame it on someone else.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so.
Don't worry, it happens to all of us the other day. I also don't sleep a lot, and it's not, I mean, I don't sleep a lot anyway, but then having a husband that snores and a big Saint Bernard that throws himself around the room all night, I don't get a lot of sleep. So the other day I was very sleep deprived, and I actually took my socks off and went to make a coffee, and then all of a sudden I turned around and I went to throw something in the garbage bin, and there were my socks. I'd thrown them in the bin rather than the washing machine.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, so it happens to all of us, trust me.
That's baby brain. Sure. Hang on. He uses it like a bumper bar.
That's all right.
He's crying. Can I go get him?
Yeah, go do it.
Hang on, hold on one sec. Oh, little baba.
So, Esther, I love that story, and I mean, we all get the baby brain, I think, whether you've got a baby or not.
Oh, yeah.
But listen, I know you've got to go back to your little man and, give him your attention, not us.
They require a lot of attention.
I know they do. It's like, I remember my dog took that much attention when he was a baby. I never slept.
Oh, no. I remember just thinking when my sister had Clancy, like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, I eat, feed, they feed and sleep and poop all day long.
You just don't realise how much work it is. It's, I mean, I know, and I'm not joking. I mean, people would probably laugh thinking I'm talking about a dog compared to a child, but that really woke me up to what mothers do. I literally didn't sleep for 2.5 months. I was beside myself,
Oh, yeah. That's what someone described it as. They said, would you take a job that's pretty much 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, but then you're on call at night?
Yeah.
Whatever. and
some mothers are doing that alone. You know what I mean? They don't even have a partner to back them up.
Single parents or parents with more than one baby, like you.
Hands down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I bow at their feet. I literally do.
Yeah, but it was good to chat, Anne.
Oh, likewise. Always good to chat to you, and I'm sure the listeners are going to love hearing what you're up to over there. I'm sure you're very missed in Australia.
Say hello, Australia.
Hi. So you have a brilliant day, and thank you so much for chatting to us. We really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, good to chat, and we'll speak soon.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Love a podcast? Love some Ants Talk.